Well, I made a mistake earlier today watching creepy 911 phone calls. That was terrible. That was probably one of the worst vids that I've ever seen, probably ever. It was so bad that Skitten said that I probably shouldn't even put it up. And I told her I'm definitely putting it up, and that's because I would like for us all to suffer. So, you know, I don't know. It's got a disclaimer on it. Don't watch it if you're squeamish, but, you know, that's happening. And to make ourselves feel better, we're watching the top 24 villains of Dragon Ball Z. What a hard switch up this is. This is part 2. I think this is actually a 4-part series. Whatever. We'll get into it. We'll watch them all. The last one, I only knew a couple of the bad guys that were on there, on the last list. Hopefully we know more from this one. Okay, let's get to more recent and more badass bad guys. Broly better be somewhere on this list, because that is my favorite Dragon Ball Z character, and the only one that I've seen the movie of more than once. Let's get into it. Of course, it's by Team 4-Star, a fantastic company that does Dragon Ball Z dubs, which I've not seen too much of. So we might have to get into that as well from their website. But I don't want to get any copyright strikes, because that's what happens with all these vids. So, it's a tough one. But we'll see. Have that discussion in the comments section. I'll read up on it and see what you guys think. Let's get into it.
Evil scientist brain in a jar and his robot can.
Hell yeah.
Okay, point's been made. Moving on. Androids 19 and 20, the latter commonly being known as Dr. Gero, are intriguing villains. Design-wise, concept-wise, they really take the science fiction angle the series adopted in the last arc and ramped it up to 11.
The Red Ribbon Army had already introduced the concept of androids way back in the early days of the franchise.
Right.
But here we see the concept fully fleshed out as the driving force of the story.
Dr. Gero being the mastermind behind the original Red Ribbon androids is a really cool concept, and as a revenge tale, it definitely should work on paper. Unfortunately, it falls short for a couple of reasons. A good portion we can chalk up to executive meddling, but we'll get to that.
Their first appearance in the series is one of the most violent, disturbing chain of events to take place in the series, and immediately establishes these two as both a threat to our heroes and to humanity. They make no qualms murdering innocent people around them.
As well as putting a hand straight through Yamcha's chest in a sequence that, frankly, is unsettling on every level. It's such a brilliant beginning to these two characters that, unfortunately, just fizzles out by the end.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that, and oddly enough, it comes down to their designs. You see, a Chinese doll and an old man dressed for a trip on the Titanic aren't exactly the first visuals that come to mind when you think about major Dragon Ball villains.
Which is exactly what Toriyama's previous editor, Kazuhiko Torishima, thought. In an interview in Shenlong Times #2, Toriyama quotes Torishima, "I thought that the enemies had finally come. But aren't these just a geezer and a fatso?"
God damn, get roasted. I thought their design was a little bit odd, but, you know, I don't know. I didn't really think much of it.
Toriyama had not planned for another set of villains, so he ended up scrapping them for androids 17 and 18.
This does little to affect their ranking, of course, but it does explain why they start so strong and then are so quickly set aside for their younger counterparts. But ultimately, there's a lot of enjoyment to be pulled from these creepy mechanical bastards.
Including giving Vegeta one of the most badass Super Saiyan transformations in the series, and the introduction of the Big Bang Attack.
Yeah!
Thanks, Android 19. You proved robots can feel fear.
17.
Broly! Wait, he should be higher, man. Come on. It's the whole crying Goku stick, isn't it?
Oh shit, okay. This idiot's got a terrifying design, and his shtick of being the legendary Super Saiyan works well in concept, but is poorly executed from start to finish. His motivation ranges from weak to laughable, and 2/3 of his films are utter garbage. He only made this list because of his impact on the audience of the franchise, and we all wish he'd been stabbed a couple more times as a baby. He has to save us from the suffering of having to sit through his film a collective 5 times to give you the abridged version! Speaking of which, we hope you enjoy it, we loved working on it, and we love you all so much. Next!
What? That's all you have to say? Come on!
16.
You'll have to excuse us, as it's only going to be myself and Kaiser this time.
Yeah, for some reason, Taka's been tied up and gagged in the storage room. I hope he's alright.
Nappa isn't exactly the first character that people think of when they hear best Dragon Ball villains.
No, you don't.
At least not until we became a thing anyway. But back-patting aside, he's actually a very effective enemy in the Saiyan saga.
The death of major characters up until this point was something that the franchise had already become familiar with, but the utter onslaught Nappa lays down is nothing short of monstrous, and it all climaxes with the death of the only character who absolutely could not die, effectively taking away their get-out-of-death-free card and setting up for the entire next arc.
His design is intimidating,
True.
his actions are ferocious, but his personality is pretty run-of-the-mill meathead death machine. Sure, he's got some great expressions, but his standalone personality leaves him better suited to being a lackey than serving as a primary threat. That being said, he fills that job better than almost any other character in the franchise.
Right-hand
Not to
man.
mention, he's also a part of one of the biggest memes to ever grace the— Hey, what?
Hey, kids, do you like violence?
Taka, get back in the room!
There is no Taka now. There is only Nappa.
15.
Garlic
You know who's a fun
Jr.
villain? Pilaf. What if you took him, but then made him effective?
You'd have King Piccolo.
Hell
Or
yeah.
Frieza.
Okay, but what about Garlic
Garlic
Jr.?
What
Jr.
about Garlic Jr.?
The guy's the only villain in the franchise to actually get his wish for immortality. Well, outside of a certain series that recently was released, but we're not talking about that right now. Unlike King Piccolo, who wished for his youth back like an idiot, he goes straight for immortality.
What's more, he has a background that's firmly rooted in the lore of the franchise. Being the disgraced son of a banished would-be Kami out for revenge is a really neat concept. While not a lot is done with it, it's definitely a backstory that helps pull together a great group of characters to fight, including Kami.
He's also such a great-looking character.
Yeah.
A vicious little gremlin clad in robes. He really does look like Emperor Pilaf's evil twin brother, and it kind of works. His henchmen also sport some neat designs, though they mostly serve to give Goku and Piccolo some fantastic fight scenes.
Yeah,
His
that shit
transformed
was
state,
dope.
on the other hand, while not bad, doesn't really have much going for it.
Wait, does that mean transformation started with Garlic Jr.? Huh. Maybe Toriyama did borrow more from the anime than we thought. Either way, he's a pretty effective villain whose film left a heavy impact on the franchise as a whole. He also had a saga in the show, but...
We're not going to talk about that. It's garbage, and we all know it's garbage. But Dead Zone is a delight for fans of both the original Dragon Ball and its follow-up Z. And Garlic Jr.'s design, along with his concept, certainly add to that.
Now, if only he hadn't gone full hubris and opened the Dead Zone, effectively the only thing that could beat him.
Never
Yep.
go full hubris.
14.
Imagine being
Yeah.
a kid who grew up watching Dragon Ball, like the original Dragon Ball. You've seen Son Goku grow from a young boy into a man, and now he's got a wife, a kid, a family. You'd think this is where the series would end, right?
Basically,
Instead,
yeah.
Toriyama decides he's going to shake up the very foundation of the series a whole 4 years into the manga's serialization by introducing the main character's long-lost brother, Raditz.
Now, didn't there come out something like a manga or something that explained the background of Raditz, like his childhood? I'd love to see
Let's be
that.
frank, Raditz is not a great villain. He's there for a total of 5 episodes of the anime and a total of 10 manga chapters.
It was really good
After
to
his
me, though.
appearance, he is soon forgotten and only ever referenced in the Saiyan saga as a measuring stick for Vegeta and Nappa.
His
Yeah.
personality also doesn't have much that sets him apart, though his savagery as an interplanetary destroyer of races definitely sets him apart from the villains before him.
He's also got a ridiculously memorable design, with his long hair and intimidating figure. How long do you think it takes him to dry that hair, by the way? Guessing 3 hours?
There's
2
no
hour
way
day.
he does
You're
that.
assuming
He air
Saiyans
dries.
bathe. Oh man, imagine being stuck in one of those pods for an entire year. I reek of sweat after a good night's sleep.
Ew.
Either way, he looks awesome, and his battle with Goku and Piccolo is also particularly memorable.
They pull out all the stops to beat him, and it takes the sacrifice of Goku, the main character, to finally
Yeah.
take the Pineapple Head down. It's an amazing scene too. The Makanko Sapo is certainly not wasted on Raditz.
Unfortunately, what is wasted is opportunity. They introduced the main character's brother as an antagonistic force, but
Yeah.
he's eliminated almost as soon as he's
True.
introduced.
I've always
10
thought about
chapters
that.
out of the 519 is pretty sad, but that doesn't change what his appearance meant for the franchise and the impact he had on the fanbase regardless.
Oh brother, where art thou? All right, he's in hell. Let's never talk about this again.
13.
Kaiser, don't freak out.
Huh?
Dude, Kaiser, just calm down!
I'm okay, guys. I'm cool.
Kaiser, please.
Stop yelling at us!
Guys, it's fine. Baby's kind of cool.
Excuse you?
Look, I hate GT as much as the next guy, as long as the next guy has a hatred that spans multiverses. But like you said, it happened. Trying to ignore what it meant to the franchise would be doing a disservice to it as a whole. I'm not just gonna dismiss it wholeheartedly.
Like these random ass
I'm going to
clips.
recognize that Baby was a really neat concept.
His backstory is rather convoluted, but to sum it up, Baby is the creation of the Tuffles, a race invented for the anime as a warring collective against the Saiyans. While the Saiyans were depicted as brutish, bloodthirsty warriors, the Tuffles demonstrated advanced technology that overpowered the might of the Saiyans. They were captured on planet Tuffle, a reformed planet Plant, which then became
This
planet
is
Vegeta
confusing.
after the full moon rose, and it just gets really confusing.
Right.
You can boil Baby's motivation down to, you guys took my planet, I want it back.
Cool.
So this planet-hopping parasite takes a few bodies, claims Vegeta's, and by the
Oh,
time
that's
Goku
right.
and Co return, the entire planet is possessed by this conniving little devil. When it comes to feats of villainy, it's hard to top actually taking over the planet.
That's pretty
I know
good.
I'm not alone in my problems with Baby, though. He does possess Vegeta, effectively removing him from the entire arc, which is a huge disservice to the character. Same thing happens to Oob.
Oob.
While the inception of Majub is touching, he amounts to nothing. His backstory is incredibly confusing, and his design is pretty bad.
But his single motivation does provide a new stage for noteworthy Saiyan imagery. Planet Vegeta comes back in control of a Vegeta. The Earth serves as a surrogate for the Moon in Goku's Super Saiyan 4 transformation, and Baby revives the Great Ape form with a golden tinge this time.
Yeah,
It's a fun
color
highlight of
change.
what defines the Saiyans as we saw them in the past.
He definitely has problems, but as far as villains go, he actually executed some pretty nasty stuff. His arc is maybe the best that GT ever had, and while still mediocre to bad at parts, Baby's origins and motivations propelled the transformation to Super Saiyan 4.
Hell
Does Goku
yeah.
dye his body hair? Like, where did his pants come from? Wasn't he a kid?
His arc has a lot of great moments that
Shut up.
unfortunately just don't salvage it. As a character, he's petulant and sniveling rather than insidious. But as a villain, Baby certainly is memorable. Maybe Final Bat had something to do with that.
Oh look, something worse than GT itself!
Ah, I want more. I guess that's the whole point, isn't it? I suppose it is. Let me open up part 3 right now. Here's part 3. There we go. I was about to say, where the hell is part 3 at? All right, sweet. I have part 3 queued up. We'll get into that very soon. Czechoslovakia, thank you guys for rolling through. Let me know who you think should be on this list, because I'm mad that Broly was so fucking low. Even though their reasoning for it seems pretty legit, I'm still mad about it because I love the dude. Thank you guys for rolling through it. I'll see you guys next time. Welcome to Czechoslovakia. Peace.